Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Ahead of the Curve. I'm David Thomas, this is Bo Gill. We're here today to discuss some information that we just received. Bo, on Tuesday night, our county commissioners were presented with a budget. This is the budget book. It's about 550 pages long. This time of the year, they go through our budget and make the recommended changes and approval for the next year, which begins July 1st. So on June the 28th, our county commissioners vote on this budget.
So they got this
Tuesday night.
And
Yes.
it's got 500 pages, and it's pretty tough reading.
Well,
and they've got about 3 weeks to vote on this, right?
You need a forensic accountant to go through that to know what it says. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
I didn't understand the first page much.
Yeah, I've looked at it. I'm not an accountant, but I mean, it's got a outlay index, and it goes through all the different departments. But it's what they go through every year. But along with that, this is the issue that I want us to talk about today. Okay. Was a letter from our mayor, basically saying that we're 22% under market value on paying current employees across the entire county government. I'll just read it. There are three major items that are not resolved under a budget neutral approach, which budget neutral means we take the revenues that we're going with for next year, and we're taking that and we're making ends meet with those numbers.
Right.
Okay. That means no increases.
Right.
No
budget neutral.
No decreases, no increases, other than our projected revenue that's coming in.
Status quo.
Status quo, right. Which I think it's where we all are right now, status quo. I mean, with the prices of everything going up, there's not many people making more money.
No, then they're spending. I mean, the pump, the inflation, and you know what? When you hear tax increases come in on top of that.
Well, that's what we're getting to here is a tax increase. I'll just read this. There are three major items that are not resolved under a budget neutral approach. Mm-hmm. Employee recruitment and retention. Per the salary study from Burris Thompson Associates Public Sector Salary Survey 2021 for Middle Tennessee, we are averaging 22% under market value for our current employee pay across the entire government system. Estimated correction cost of $4 million are 32 cents tax increase, referring to property tax increase. Okay. That's 32 cents per hundred increase. Our current rate is $1.9652, 19652. So this would put 32 more cents onto that. Okay. Then Economic Development Partnership. The Shelbyville Bedford Partnership is requesting $210,000 for operations, $100,000 for 231 board expenses, and $200,000 for sewer upgrades for the industrial park, totaling $510,000. Estimated correction cost 4 cents per tax increase. So that's 4 more cents piled onto that.
So we're about 230. We're at about 230.
Yeah, we're going to be somewhere here in a minute. Mm-hmm. All right, cost of living. Federal government inflation rate for 2022 is estimated at 5.9%. This figure represents $796,500 impact to salaries, or a 7-cent tax increase to implement. So we got 7 and 4 and 32. So that's 32 and 4 is 36, 43-cent tax increase on top of the $196.52 that we're currently paying, which that is a 18% increase in property taxes.
And that's just at once. I mean, that's one boom.
Right.
It's not a gradual deal. It's on top of our increases in taxes already. Our real estate taxes went up substantially.
We've recently already had a hit.
Right.
All right. I know mine went up, if I did the math, it probably went up about 13 or 14%.
Yeah, most of them I've seen about 100,000, if you want to put a dollar figure on it, depending on, I mean, you know, about 100,000 or about that 10%, 10 to 15%.
Yeah, in that range, depending on where you were.
Which is valid because it's based on market, and the market's hot right now.
I mean, that's our assessment. That's what our tax assessor does.
That's right.
She compiles the. I guess a lot of times they do physical evaluations. Sometimes,
they do.
Don't they? Just to check.
They do.
So they put the value on it based on current market, and our current market is highly inflated. We know that. That's the way it's been over the increase over the last 5 years.
And it's every 6 years they do this.
And it's a built-in increase. Okay,
Right.
So we've got that built-in increase already. They backed off because of the inflation of prices. They backed off on our rate a little bit. Okay, but now we're going to take it back up if all this is implemented. Now, it doesn't say that it's not included in this budget. Okay, but this proposal is laid out by our mayor. And here's the final statement. This is the thing that really bothers me. If there is no increase in revenues, particularly in salaries, we will be forced to reduce services to the public. Due to the national shortage of public safety personnel as well as EMS providers in Tennessee, my administration will be forced to restructure approximately $300,000 throughout the county budgets to simply provide basic life support ambulance service and reduce staffing to 4 units per day. Okay, so
Why would you reduce
our
staffing?
our number one priority in this county is safety, I would say, and that gets to your EMS, your police, and your fire. Okay, that's our priorities as just a society. We want to put out fires when they're on fire. We want to stop crime, hopefully before crime occurs, but at least do something about it. And then we have medical emergencies. Okay, those are our 3 basic fundamental needs as
Right.
a society.
Yes.
And that's the first thing you're going to cut.
It seems like, and then they said reduce when we're already. So that means that there's a nationwide shortage, but you're reducing
Yeah, you're going to fire
your
people.
workers.
You're going to fire people.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what his intention was on that, but that's what it sounds like. That if y'all don't implement this is what's going to happen.
It sounds like a threat to me.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, here's the statement that really bothers me. Bedford County is at a critical juncture where we can either continue to move forward or regress. While continuing the status quo may be familiar or comforting, it does not promote progress or positive change.
Progress or positive change.
Sounds like Bernie Sanders to me.
Wow. Progress and positive change. So
Well, that's a playbook right out of the left wing, and that don't suit well with a Republican.
we got it pretty good here. I mean, I know we're not the highest income as
No, we're
surrounded-
not. But we are who we are.
We are who we are, and yeah, I think we're progressing naturally. But to implement this much, now look, we want good employees. We want good county employees, police officers, firemen.
We got good ones.
We do have
Yeah,
good ones.
we do have good
But
ones.
in order to not lose those to other, maybe like Coffee County, Marshall County, other places, Rutherford County is hard to compete with.
We can't.
But we do need. There needs to be some kind of incentive to bring these good employees in. Now, an overall 22% increase, that's a lot to eat on one go. I agree that the increases are built in here, but this right here throws a 22% on top of all that.
Yeah, 22%, roughly $4 million to the payroll in one whack if you do it in one bite. Okay, so my question is, how many commissioners are going to go for this? Okay, and if they do, I mean, how do you go to your constituents?
Well, the letter's been formed that if you don't go along with it, then you don't want a safe Bedford County. That's basically what it's saying.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I think we've got a problem as far as priorities when we're looking at it like this. If that's the first thing you're going to cut, what about all this property we got sitting around vacant that we own?
That we could cash out.
We gotta sell this stuff and get out of the real estate business.
We don't need to be in the real estate business.
And the thing is, right now, right during the middle of the highest inflation rates that I've seen in my lifetime, and you've seen in your lifetime,
It has been.
obviously.
Yes.
When you can't go to the gas pump and fill up your tank, and then like it not hurt. I mean, it's hurting everybody at
It
this
hurts.
point. All right, so there's no sign of relief coming on that. Why not table this to down the road to when our inflation rate gets back under grips, and we start to see a turn in, because I know we're going into a recession. It's obvious. It's happening. All the major financial people are saying this. So government has to adapt just like everybody else does.
They do. They don't need to keep going up.
No.
And that's
no.
what they're doing here.
I mean, everybody at this point, I can't just go take I ain't had a raise in 18 years.
The
Seriously, I'm making the same money I did
Right.
18 years
and
ago.
then, and now throw this some more on top of it.
Most small business owners and most employees that go out and work for a living, they might get modest raises from time to time, but I've never heard of anybody getting a 22% raise unless they took a change in their job and
Right.
jumped up into a different category.
You know, and this seems like to be for everybody, like a blanket 22.
I don't think it is. I think
it should be to maybe, certain employees that are,
well, I mean, if EMS is a priority, and I think it is,
yes.
they need to be brought up to par.
And not
if it's
used
about
as
firefighters, absolutely. If it's for sheriff department or law enforcement, absolutely. Those are those three priorities.
Yes.
But you don't threaten to cut those. Not when you got other meat and
Yeah.
fat meat
Yeah.
sitting around
Right.
that you could automatically go to.
You could.
I think for us as a county and just as a citizen, if I had confidence that everything was being managed properly and it was running efficient right now, then I wouldn't have a problem thinking, okay, maybe we do need to raise taxes and look at something and
Yes.
get these people raises because
Yes.
they deserve it.
Yes.
But when you got vacant property sitting around and weeds growing up on it everywhere, and then you've made investments that ain't paid off on industrial parks, and that's part of the equation here.
That's cash flow.
That's yes.
You could get that cash flow now.
Absolutely.
And then you talk about the economic development partnership. It says here that they're requesting $210,000 for operations, $100,000 for the 231 board, and $200,000 for sewer upgrades. The sewer upgrades need to be done yesterday.
We can't get because
They
you
need
gotta
to
have that if you're
that's
gonna
a
put
that's a
something.
no-brainer.
Yeah.
But the 210 and the 100, why don't we make that an incentive if somebody comes here?
How long has this partnership been going on? About 3 years?
About 3 or 4 years.
Now I know that the county government wants to take credit for Nearest Green, but Nearest Green was coming here. Okay, without being recruited, they were going to come here because it was a natural fit for them. Okay, and it's great that we got them. And I think
love
it's
it.
an awesome tourist attraction. It's a great feature on the north side of town.
It is beautiful.
But for us to have industrial recruiters that haven't produced industry, I think we ought to go to like some sort of commission. Okay, land us a deal, make X number.
It needs to be an
Instead of just-
incentive based. You get it here, here you go.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people work that way. I don't know, but anyway, I know Mr. Hooper is doing the best he can.
He's doing a great job. But,
Yeah.
but we're concerned
We
about
gotta
our
have
tax
results.
money.
We got to have results here. This is taxpayers' money we're talking about.
That's right. That's right. I mean, there's a lot of great intentions here, but I
Yeah.
think the bottom line is it smart to do those raises right now? In my opinion, no. There needs to be raises. There needs to be ways to get better employees and to compete.
All right, let's talk about this. Changing gears a little bit about where the revenue could come from. Instead of property taxes, what about the impact fees?
Oh, impact fees could be,
Now I understand we can only go up 25 more cents per hundred or something on that.
but that's still viable revenue that could easily.
Okay, what's an impact fee, Bo? What does that actually do?
It impacts the
I understand,
the public.
but who is it? Somebody building a new home has to pay an
that's
impact
right. They have
fee.
to pay these impact fees that goes into a impact fee fund, I guess, and then it's that money is used. It's supposed to be used for county and county entities, things that need to be done, and it's set in that.
So it
fund.
goes into the general fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say somebody's going to build an average house, $400,000 house. What's the impact fee on that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I don't know if they put a percentage on it, or I'd have to look at some closing statements. But I know that it's probably.
Well, I think it's basically like a property tax, but it's a one-time fee.
It's a one-time fee. It is a one-time fee.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what that is, what the impact.
But we have room to where that could go up, and
Yes.
that would curtail some of this rapid, I say, over-exuberant building that we've got going on here in Bedford County. And it's good to see builders making money. There's no doubt. But at the same time, this flood outruns our infrastructure, like we've talked before, and that could produce healthier growth if we had a higher fee there and at least absorb some of the costs of running our government.
And those are the people
Yeah.
that have that are, it's the people buying homes. They've got money, skin in the game.
Yeah. Now,
Infrastructure, though, I mean, I would think, if anything, you cut a lot of this and put more for infrastructure. Like, there's several infrastructure we need because we're growing so big.
Right.
I think it's kind of being left out a little bit.
Okay, so we've got this conversation going on, and everybody comes up with ideas, and it's good. I think ideas tossed out are great.
Yes.
The idea of a wheel tax came up on Facebook after I posted this.
That always comes
That
up.
always comes up. Well, the voters in this county rejected this, 5, 6 years
They did.
ago? Okay, is it time to come back with a wheel tax? I don't know. I'm against any kind of tax increase
Yes.
until we're efficiently running, okay?
If we're efficiently running, but if
If you got to have a tax increase, what would you want?
And I don't
would you
know if
want
I-
a property tax increase or a wheel tax?
I would
personally.
me personally, I'd want a wheel tax.
Okay.
Because it's everybody's car. It's your one-time fee that year. It goes up a little bit, but when it's not assessed, it's just a one-time fee. You know, when you get into real estate taxes, that can get assessed and that can go real high.
Well, that's the fear of the wheel tax. Okay, it's not one time.
It'll
it's
never-
annual. It's annual.
And they'll always, you think, go up a little bit, a little bit, a little
I
bit.
mean, unless you put it,
Well, it's not a one-time. You're right, but
it's one time a year.
But it should be the same, right?
Well, it should be. But here's the thing: you create a new tax, and I don't know how the state regulates that, or even they do. I don't know if it's county by county. I'd have to look at that. But I know people are fearful that you started at X and it goes to X.
Well,
quick.
I don't know if there's a way to write it in where it can't be changed.
There should be a way.
It should be, but
Yeah.
here's the thing that I think that would the wheel tax versus raising property tax. Not everybody owns property. Most everybody, if not everybody, has a car.
Right.
That way, everybody's paying in a certain
Right.
bit. There are several that are renting that are not. I mean, they may be paying.
They're paying it through their rent.
They're paying it through their rent,
Yeah.
but you know what? I don't know. You're still gonna have that that revenue on the real estate, the wheel tax. Like you said, I'm not for any tax raise, but if we want to, you know, answer some of these questions about getting these better employers and helping our infrastructure, that might be one way to go. But it comes up, and it's, you know, it could be a referendum. It's something
Yeah.
that we could vote on, and people's minds might have changed since then. But right now, the bottom line is we're all hurting.
Yeah.
We're hurting. I mean, you know, I got gas this morning. It hurt. It's just, and it's a daily reminder, and it's getting people down, and investors, people with money, are holding on. They're holding on right now.
Well, have you been to the grocery store later?
Yes, I have.
Lately.
I mean, it's the worst. You get gas and you go to the groceries.
You're
some
ready to go
people
home and hide.
Yeah, it might be wiping out some people's paycheck.
Yeah. All right. Now, one other thing that I think about is this senior tax freeze that's been mentioned. I know Brent Smith was wanting to do that if he was elected as mayor.
Yes.
And I know there's some other commissioners that have mentioned this before, that the senior tax freeze is a state. It's organized by the state based on income for people over the age of 65, to where their tax just freeze. And I was told that our administration, no way, it's too complicated to do. But I've read the state law where it allows this to happen. It's based on income.
This is complicated.
Well, yeah, tell me about it.
I mean, that shouldn't be that complicated.
But I think if we're going to start going up on our property tax, our seniors that have already got their house paid for, that have a piece of land and a home, especially those living out in the rural areas, they're going to have to come up with a lump fee every year of $2,000-$3,000 if
And
they
they're
got
not
a few
working.
acres. They're not working. They're on their Social Security and what retirement they have. They should be grandfathered in at this lower rate and freeze it.
They're
No
still
more.
paying.
They're paying. Yeah.
But I think that's just kind of the reward for, you know, being a productive citizen,
Yeah.
or you know, or making it that far.
Well, to me, it's a no-brainer. So we've got an election coming up.
We do general election.
General election coming up in August. We've got the mayor that's contested by a lady, Misty Peller.
Yes.
We've got several spots on our commission that's going to be contested.
District 5 is gonna
District
be-
5 is heavily contested.
And then out in Wheel,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
is going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
All right, so the question becomes, is what commissioner that's up for re-election is going to say, yeah, I want to go along with that?
Well, I want to know what commissioner are asking questions. And,
Yes.
and I think there are some valid questions that need to be asked before this gets, that questions need to be answered before this gets passed on the
Well,
28th.
it sounds like to me that this request and this is two separate issues.
And this is
okay?
a letter to the commissioners, correct?
Yes,
this
this
was
is a
sent
letter
to the
this was
commissioners.
sent to the commissioners.
Okay.
And it says that included in your county budget book, which you have received tonight, there's an overview document reflecting the items requested or needed versus what can be funded with current revenue projections.
So they got this,
in
and then they
there-
got that.
Yes, and inside of here, there's several things that aren't included in the budget but have been requested, and I'm sure they'll have to take those line item by line item. But you're talking about probably 550 pages of budget to review in a 2-week time period. This should have been given out to them in April.
Yes, and I think on all these there needs to be why? Why do we need this employee recruitment retention? We may know kind of, but we need to see why.
Yeah.
The economic development partnership. Okay, how is this? Do we need to do that, or do we need to do this incentivize it to where when we have an actual ground break, then
Yes.
here you go. The cost of living. Hey, cost of living's going up.
Yes.
That's just what it is.
It is
and
what
that's
it is.
okay.
But you know what?
You've already increased it.
I talk to a lot of people that move here through in the horse industry and there's people that's moving into this area. And one of the reasons that they're moving here, every one of them will say, well, the cost of living here is so much less than it is in Nashville and Murfreesboro and in other parts of the country. Okay, it's still that way. Our cost of living it's increasing like crazy, but it's still attractive.
Why not keep it that attractive?
I know. So,
But then again, do we want? Their argument is, do you want to progress? I think we're progressing naturally, but I don't think you need to just implement large lump sum taxes for that. But it looks like it's on the horizon here, and it's going to be interesting of what the commissioners do and the questions that are asked.
We're going to have some on here coming up in the next day
Good.
or two,
We'd
real
love to
soon,
talk.
because we've got questions for them, and I just want to hear from them. And I've got 2 or 3 that have agreed to sit down with us and just talk about this, talk about the budget, and talk about what our county faces.
Yeah, and
it needs to be talked publicly about, because honestly, the government does not run the people.
that's right.
The people run the government, and that's at all levels. And sometimes I think we as citizens forget the responsibility we have to oversee our government.
We can ask questions. We
Yes.
can say, wait, let me ask you a question. Before in between when this was given to the commissioners and their next meeting on 28, is there a public hearing? Is there any public
There's
input?
no public input.
There's no
you
public.
can show up, but you're not going to be able to
Okay.
speak at that meeting
Okay.
unless you storm out or something. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to have to disrupt the meeting
Okay.
because you're not going to have questions fielded over this.
So
this
this-
is our commissioners have got to step
So
up.
right here on Shelbyville Now, that's where you're getting your public input, and that's where we need
Yes.
everybody to be
If you-
loud. And if you don't want this, or if you have an opinion on this, let it be known. This seems like to be the only forum that we have here.
Yeah, there's no other place to talk about it. Now
Whether
you
you're
can
for
go,
it or against it.
But now they would say, well, you can come to a budget meeting at 4:30 in the afternoon, which is stupid. All right,
4:30 in the
That's
afternoon?
stupid. All right, who is going to show up at 4:30 in the afternoon when they're working? They're not going to take off work to come talk about this because their boss ain't going to let them do it.
Why don't they do it at like
It
6:30?
should be at 7 o'clock at night after a meal, after you go home, and then you can come out. And more people would be there to voice their opinions. You would have to expand the little room that they got out there into a larger. Now, I think maybe that location is going to change since we've got the courthouse remodeled.
Right.
Okay. Maybe that's going to be moved up there. I don't know the
Most
details.
people are at work when
But it
these
is
are going on.
stupid to have these committee meetings
Yeah.
at 4:30, at 3 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, when the public can't be there.
Yeah,
That's almost.
How long has that been going on? Like, has it been going on for a long time? Do you know how long they've been meeting in the middle of the day?
Ever since I've asked about it,
Okay.
it's been at that time,
Okay.
which that's been the last
Yeah,
few years.
and
but
I understand there's probably reasons behind that.
there's
but it
no reason
seems,
behind that because they work for the public.
That's right. They do.
I understand it's more convenient for them not have to go home and come back, but
Right.
they're public servants.
Right.
That's why we elect them. That's why we put them there.
You're a public servant. That's
It's a
exactly
public
right.
servant. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate our public servants. But the people that make the decision to hide meetings and make them inconvenient for the public are not serving the public at that point.
That's true.
And we've got a lot of great, let me say this, we've got a lot of great people working in our county government, and I appreciate them. And yes, I'd like to see them get raises. But the bottom line is, right now during the economic hard times, everybody's having to sacrifice a little bit. And give us your opinion, okay?
Yeah.
And
What do
we're
you
getting
think?
a lot of opinions from government employees and other people out there on Facebook. But if you have an idea, throw it up on the board on Facebook.
Yeah,
and talk
I mean,
about
just
it.
this is the public forum. This is where where your concerns can be talked about and be voiced. And you know what? We might not come up with an answer, but we might be able to influence.
Our conservative viewpoint is going to tilt our answer toward a conservative
Well,
view.
it will be because
because I feel like that's the best way for government to be run. And obviously, there's people that are liberal and they want to blow the money out and take it and spend it. And I get that because they want to save the world.
But a lot of that money just don't go where it's supposed to.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
goes
it
in
gets-
pockets that it don't need to go in, and it
Yeah.
needs to be responsibly spent. We do need quality employees. We need to retain them and not lose them to other counties and everything. But I think you can incentivize that too. You know, be a great employee. Well, here's your 22%, or here's your a little bit.
Yeah.
Incentivize that to be a value employee. I think you'll get employees that will actually try a little harder
Yeah.
for that incentive. If I knew I was getting an extra whatever, if I did so and so, if I don't know. It might just be just simple as showing up early. I don't know.
Well,
Just being a good-
I don't think that this is about increasing the job load. I think this is about just increasing the pay based on what's happening right now. Without incentives, I mean, it's just like we're underpaying.
We are.
Based on this study. Now, if
Where
we're
is this
compar-
study? Let's talk about
well,
this
it's
study.
Middle Tennessee. Okay. So if it's Murfreesboro that we're comparing ourselves to, yeah, we're going to be way under that.
Okay, yeah, well, of course we are. And this Burris, Thompson and Associates Public Sector Salary Survey. I don't know. I haven't read that. Have the commissioners read that? Do they know?
They don't
about
know
this?
anything about that.
I guess okay. So
The ones I talked to had no knowledge of it taking
so we don't know if
place.
this is a standard study or if this is their first study.
Well, I know the city of Shelbyville a couple years ago hired this firm to do a
Okay.
study for the city.
Okay, so this is
All
what
right,
this is what they do, and it's for Middle Tennessee. I think they should have done for Southern Middle Tennessee.
Comparable size counties.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
because you do Middle Tennessee, Nashville and Rutherford County, and some of your northern are the outliers.
Right. But I'll say this, and we need to wind up.
Okay.
I know people are tired of us talking.
I know it.
But the bottom line, yes, we need to raise these guys that are out risking their lives.
Yes,
Those three services.
we are not against that.
EMS, fire, sheriff's department for our county.
Yes, they
We
need.
ain't even brought up the teachers yet. That's another story and another show, but that's not even mentioned here, okay?
Right.
But these three things we definitely need to look at. These people are putting their lives on the line.
Lives on the line every day, and
Right.
they need to be compensated
All
for
right,
it.
so we definitely will agree that we've got to get up to par on that. But to throw a blanket tax increase all at once is irresponsible, and then making a threat to cut the very things that you want to raise is a double down on irresponsible.
It's negative. It's
I
very
mean,
negative.
you say that you're going to cut and go down to 4 units a day if we don't get this.
So four ambulances in circulation.
You're crossing a line right there that you can't explain
Yeah,
away.
that you're putting the people at risk.
But Mayor Graham, I invite you to come and sit right here, and I'd be happy to interview you and let you tell your story anytime.
And he's got a hard job. I mean, that is a tough job, and it's a job of criticism.
But when you
he knows he can
when
take
you go down this path, it makes the job even tougher.
It does. When you go down that path, it makes it tougher. And I don't want to be too hard on him because I know he's got a tough job and he's probably got. But we would like to hear from him to come, and I'm sure the people would too.
That's the thing. All right, I think that
The people want to hear.
if you sit in the dark or just off to yourself and you're doing your job, concentrating on that, but you're a public servant, I think at some point you have to stand up and make your case to the public for something like this
Yes.
before you take it and say, county commissioners do this, or I'm cutting this.
Yeah.
I think you've got to make the case and sell to the entire county so where people can get a grip on what you're dealing with.
Because when you just read that or see it, you're like, whoa.
I'm like,
If I had some explanation with it, I might be able to chew on it a little better.
yeah, most government officials that get stuff done go out publicly and they sell their case, and they win people over based on facts.
Whether it's here or wherever the platform is,
Right.
we need to hear
Right.
something.
And this, I hope, gets handled in a way that doesn't put pain on our county.
I hope it's done responsibly and thinking about and done as a servant, not looking at themselves.
Right.
Looking, it's being, you're a servant. I'm gonna make a decision for my
Yeah.
constituents, whatever district I'm in. And I think that the commissioners right now need to get a pulse of their constituents, and
Yes.
and they need to know what their constituents think, and then come to that meeting or that vote on 28th and say, this is what my constituents say, and vote how your
Yeah, I was
constituents.
talking to a commissioner last night, and he said, I just don't know exactly what I need to do. I said, well, listen, your job is not that complicated. When you got elected as a commissioner, you became a voice for your constituents in your district. So the job is you go talk to your constituents and ask them their opinion on it, and you vote based on that. That's all you have to do. That takes the monkey off of the back
Yes.
of our commissioners. You go to your constituents, ask them. Go get a cross-section pulse of your constituents.
Yeah, you're the voice of your constituents. You're not your own voice.
That's right.
And
So-
there's other ways to do it. You if you wanted to knock at doors, you could. But the best way is to have a little Saturday afternoon ice cream.
But
whatever.
with technology the way it is now, you can set a Facebook
You
page
can,
up and take a
easily.
poll for your
It's-
your people.
It's not hard, but that's it. You're in there. I mean, we go over this a lot about being a servant. You're in there to speak for your constituents. You're not there to voice your opinion, your personal opinion. It might be part of it, but the main factor is the constituents, and that's who needs to be talked to. That's who needs to be asked. That's who needs to have their voice heard, because it is their money. It's my money. It's your money. It's all of our money.
Their voice is going to be heard, because I'm definitely going to put a poll up on this. If people want this percentage increase on their tax, their property tax, I don't have to do a poll to tell you that. But it's going to be, the majority of people do not want that. But I'm going to put it up there so that we have it on record.
Yeah.
And I'll pass this along
Vote.
to
Vote
the
on the
commissioners.
poll. Be looking for the
Yeah.
poll. It's coming
Yeah,
up.
It's coming up, and it'll ask your opinion on a wheel tax as well. So we'll have a couple of polls.
That'd be interesting.
This gives information to our elected representatives, our commissioners, about what they need to do. All right, so that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, Bo. We rambled a little bit. But honestly,
It's important stuff.
this is stuff that you're not going to find out until after the fact, and we're trying to give everybody heads up and get you ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching.
See ya.